Look, I've been trying to avoid covering this team for a while now, but they're playing so good that I can't avoid it anymore. Let's be real. There are only two types of people who want to hear about the Sacramento Kings. Kings fans and insane asylum patients. That's it. It seems like this poverty of a franchise has found some sort of success after struggling for the past 2 decades? Holy shit, I just saw that on Basketball Reference. I mean, these dudes haven't been anywhere near relevant since the Mike Bibby, Peja Stojakovic era. And let me tell you, those guys have been out of the league for a decade plus at this point. Hell, I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that Bibby is coaching like a team in the new fan-controlled Hoops League. Hope that guy's coaching career is more successful than his playing one. Alright, let me chill. Because even though he might be a bit of a meme, he was a really solid role player in his time who lasted longer than some of your favorite guys. And I'm not just walking it back because Mike Bibby turned into the Incredible Hulk or anything after he retired. That'd be ridiculous. Okay, we're here to talk about the present day Kings, so let's get into it. Now, where did this spontaneous success really come from? See, I think the answer to that is much more simple than people realize. And it's all due to one man. He is Mike Brown. That's it, Mike Brown. Who knew that good coaching would lead to players getting better and playing winning basketball? And if we're honest, my guy should have had a job. Dude's deadass has been a Warriors assistant for 6 straight years. Now, was he fucked over during his Los Angeles Lakers stint? I'd say so. I mean, what did LA expect Mike Brown to do with that team? He can't fucking control aging, you know? Let's be honest. I love Kobe and I love Nash, but they were pretty battle tested by the time they became a duo. And what was Mike Brown supposed to do? They had expectations for the trio to be superstars, win the damn ring. And that might have been manageable if those guys were in their primes, but they weren't. Oh yeah, maybe Dwight was in his prime. Yeah, that guy should have played better for LA if we're being real. He did underperform. Kind of like my viewers underperforming when it comes to liking the video and subscribing to the channel, which you can do right now, by the way. Alright, let's move on from the coaching side and towards on-court action. Because there's been a handful of players this season that have taken a step up. Starting with team captain De'Aaron Fox, or at least who I hope is team captain. I mean, he had an NBA comparison of John Wall coming into the league. And I bring this up to say that both players were talented point guards who got trapped on shitty franchises. The only difference is, the Wizards were able to surround Wall with a duo in crime in Bradley Beal. And though they may not have lasted as long as the Wizards were hoping for, it was certainly better than the pairing of De'Aaron and Marvin Bagley. Sorry to bag on the dude, no pun intended, but he's just been so mid for being a second overall pick. You gotta keep highly drafted players accountable, because when you go top 3, the team's expecting a franchise kind of guy. Hell, when you go top 5, the team wants a franchise kind of guy. Anyway, let's step away from that. Fox has stepped up his scoring this season, going from 23 points to 24 in the short time that he's been with Mike Brown. Hell, by the end of the year, who knows, maybe he'll be at 25. Fuck it. But what I believe is more impressive in my eyes is how De'Aaron has improved his all-around game, with the guard drastically averaging way more rebounds this season, which is something you don't expect from a guard, unless he's like Russell Westbrook. And he isn't the only guy to get better under Mike Brown. In fact, Domantas Sabonis, who came over in a wild trade last year, has been averaging way more assists than before. And when a big man is great at spreading the ball around, it can make a world of difference for the team. Trust me on this. Nikola Jokic is a perfect example of what a good passing center looks like. And when he's in his zone, he's good enough to be MVP not once, but twice. And it's not just the older players who've been on the team for a while doing good. In fact, one of the bigger reasons for Sacramento's success this season has been in thanks to an offseason steal. Yep, I'm talking about 6-man and backup point guard Malik Monk, who's been running the offense when Fox sits on the bench. And I mean, just the other day, I watched the Sacramento Kings pound the shit out of the Pacers, who haven't been too bad themselves this year. And at the end of the game, when I went to the stat sheet, what I saw was 20 points from one man off the bench. His name, Malik Monk. Which just goes to prove how much of a difference maker that guy is. And if I'm being honest, I could see him starting on like half the NBA teams. Alright, maybe that's pushing it, but whatever. Speaking of a newer player stepping up this season, it can't go without mentioning that Keegan Murray has made quite a big difference his rookie year. And after getting picked 4th in the draft this year, you'd expect the guy to shake up the game a little bit in his first year, but the small forward out of Iowa is already in the starting lineup. With a team that has some depth at the small forward position, it's not like it was easy to get the job. And honestly, I could see Keegan in the race for Rookie of the Year this season. That's just how good he's been playing. And I'm pretty hype about the Kings for the rest of the year, with one of the bigger reasons being the fact that I want to see this team win more home games because of the fucking laser beam. I mean, that thing is cool as shit. I don't care if you're banging on it on Twitter. The laser beam is cool, deal with it. Who wouldn't want to see a purple beam shoot up into the sky? And before I go, I just want to finish off the video with discussing some possible trade ideas that the Kings can make to improve their roster this season and make them a real playoff contender. Now, first of all, a potential move the Kings could pull off is a trade for PJ Washington, who's been stuck on a miserable Hornets roster all year. Now, this potential trade would bring both PJ and Kelly Oubre to the Kings, providing a big-time spark to the lineup. And in the deal, the Kings would have to give up Davion Mitchell, Rashawn Holmes, and 2 seconds. And honestly, that seems pretty solid. I mean, the reason for the Hornets doing this deal is so that they can get 2 expiring contracts off the books while getting a potential young star in Davion. So, the Hornets get something out of this too. And getting both PJ and Kelly would allow the Kings to move their rookie star Keegan Murray to the bench for now to bolster their second unit alongside Malik Monk. And one more enticing trade that I've seen floating around for the Kings is centered on Kyle Kuzma heading to Sacramento. Now, alongside Kyle would be Denny Avdija and Isaiah Todd, who fit the timeline for the Kings right now. And again, the Kings would have to give up Davion Mitchell because he's such a core piece to most of these trades, plus Harrison Barnes and 2 first-round picks, with one of them being top 10 protected. And the only problem that I see arising for the Kings in this one is whether those Wizards players really push the Kings over that hump. But anyway, that's just about it for the video. The Kings have surprised me, to say the least. And you know what? I really do hope that they make the playoffs and end this decade-plus drought. Alright.